Today's channeled tarot reading is part 3 of the Sebastian Rogers channeled tarot readings. So, in part 2, one of the main first cards that came up said, already interviewed the killer. And so in this particular channeled reading, I want to tap into the energy of Sebastian Rogers. And in this reading, we're going to specifically zone in on the Proudfoots, which are Sebastian Rogers' mother, Katie, and Sebastian's stepfather, Chris. And the reason that I kind of wanted to focus in on those two specifically, first of all, Katie Proudfoot, Sebastian's mother, is the last person known to be with Sebastian. And as far as Chris, the stepfather, is concerned, I feel as though his actions and his words since Sebastian's disappearance have been very self-seeking. And I feel as though he has been working full time on defending himself in this situation rather than trying to find his missing stepson, Sebastian. So all in all, I just feel like some more of the focus needs to be placed on these two. Mostly because obviously he was within their home, their residence, also at the time of his disappearance. Now, this morning when I was connecting with the energy of Sebastian Rogers, I just sat and did a small meditation and prayer. And after that, I went and grabbed my Bible and I kind of just asked God for a message that Sebastian would want me to read before doing this reading. And I randomly opened up my Bible to Jeremiah, and it's chapter 30. My eyes were immediately drawn to the words, the restoration, which is Jeremiah chapter 30. I'm going to go ahead and read it now just to show you the message that was being given to me at that time. And let you know how I felt about it. So if you don't really want to hear this part, you can go ahead and skip forward a couple of minutes now. All right, so Jeremiah chapter 30 is the restoration. The following message came to Jeremiah from the Lord. Thus says the Lord, the God of Israel, write all the words that I have spoken to you in a book. For behold, the days will come, says the Lord, when I will change the lot of my people, of Israel and Judah, says the Lord, and bring them back to the land which I gave to their fathers. They shall have it as their possession. These are the words which the Lord spoke to Israel and to Judah. Thus says the Lord. A cry of dismay we hear. Fear reigns, not peace. Inquire and see. Since when do men bear children? Why then do I see all these men with their hands on their loins like women in childbirth? Why have all their faces turned deathly pale? How mighty is that day? None like it. A time of distress for Jacob, though he shall be saved from it. On that day, says the Lord of hosts, I will break his yoke from off your necks and snap your bonds. Strangers shall no longer enslave them. Instead, they shall serve the Lord, their God, and David, their king, whom I will rise up for them. But you, my servant Jacob, fear not, says the Lord. Be not dismayed, O Israel. Behold, I will deliver you from the far-off land, your descendants from their land of exile. Jacob shall again find rest, shall be tranquil and undisturbed. For I am with you, says the Lord, to deliver you. I will make an end of all the nations among which I have scattered you. But of you I will not make an end. I will chastise you as you deserve. I will not let you go unpunished. For thus says the Lord, incurable is your wound, grievous your bruise. There is none to plead your cause, no remedy for your running sore, no healing for you. All your lovers have forgotten you. They do not seek you. I struck you as an enemy would strike, punished you cruelly. Why cry out over your wound? Your pain is without grief. Because of your great guilt, your numerous sins, I have done this to you. Yet all who devour you shall be devoured. All your enemies shall go into exile. All who plunder you shall be plundered. All who pillage you I will hand over to pillage. For I will restore you to health. For your wounds I will heal you, says the Lord. The outcast they have called you, with no avenger. Thus says the Lord, see, I will restore the tents of Jacob. His dwellings I will pity. City shall be rebuilt upon hill, and palace restored as it was. From them will resound songs of praise, the laughter of happy men. I will make them not few but many. They will not be tiny, for I will glorify them. His sons shall be of old. His assembly before me shall stand firm. I will punish all his oppressors. His leader shall be one of his own, and his rulers shall come from his kin. When I summon him, he shall approach me. How else should one take the deadly risk of approaching me, says the Lord. You shall be my people, and I will be your God. See the storm of the Lord. His wrath breaks forth in a whirling storm that bursts upon the heads of the wicked. The anger of the Lord will not abate until he has done and fulfilled what he has determined in his heart. When the time comes, you will fully understand. As I read that chapter on the restoration, I was receiving this download, basically, that the wrath is being put upon the Proudfoots. Trust me on that one. I felt as though Sebastian was telling me that they are being plagued by constant thoughts of Sebastian, constant thoughts of watching their own backs, constant thoughts of, is today the day that they're going to be on to me? That was the feeling that I was kind of getting from that particular part. But also, on the other hand, we have the restoration of Sebastian's soul. Because as we find the truth and seek the truth, Sebastian is given back to God. He's released from this place. And basically, I feel as though Sebastian is being restored while the Proudfoots, or whoever it is that caused Sebastian's disappearance, they are also getting what it is that they deserve, even if it's not what we can see as the public. But I do feel like God's kingdom, the kingdom of thought, definitely has them in a prison of their own, if you know what I mean. So, now that I've shared that with you all, I'm going to go ahead and open myself up as a channel for the energy of Sebastian Rogers to come through, so that we can find out more about the Proudfoots' involvement in Sebastian's disappearance. So now I'm going to light this candle in honor of the energy of Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. And while this candle is lit, I will be a channel for the energy of Sebastian Rogers to come through and to let us know more about the part that his mother and stepfather played in his disappearance. And Sebastian Rogers, I'm lighting this candle now. Thank you, thank you, Thank you so much for being here. All right. Okay, Sebastian. I'm going to start by pulling 3 of the cards from this mystery deck. And I'm just going to shuffle the deck 3 times, cut the deck, draw a card, and then repeat that process for all 3 cards. Details leading up to this event may be worth investigating. So once again, Sebastian is saying that it's important that we look back at the details that led up to the time of his disappearance. All right, let's see what else we have here. And remember, this is specifically about the Proudfoot's involvement, possible alleged involvement in the disappearance of Sebastian Rogers. This crime may be solved by DNA testing or other scientific methods. It's unfortunate that they kind of treated this as a runaway situation in the beginning. So I don't know how much evidence they were able to collect from the home itself. But it's possible that if Sebastian is found and something has happened to him, if you know what I mean, if he's no longer with us, there will be DNA involved that will be able to identify him. All right, let's get the last card. But not only DNA, it says also other scientific methods, so there could be other trace evidence that can't be seen with the naked eye. And the last one, killer profile indicates narcissist or sociopath. Yeah. Part of the reason I wanted to do this particular reading for Sebastian was because of Chris Proudfoot specifically, because of his narcissistic tendency to like defend himself in this situation from everything negative said about him specifically. From what I've seen of him, he has not in any way been trying to find Sebastian whenever he puts himself out there on podcasts and shows. All he's doing is defending himself. And he really only brings up Sebastian when he's asked about Sebastian, specifically. At least a lot of times. But most of the time, it's him just defending himself and Katie Proudfoot against the, public opinion. So, yeah. So the details leading up to the event of his disappearance are going to be worth investigating more of. Also, the crime may be solved by DNA testing or other scientific means. And the person responsible here indicates a narcissist or a sociopath. All right. So I'm going to do this. We're going to go into the reading now with the Deviant Moon deck. So I'm going to shuffle this deck a few times, and then I'm going to draw 3 cards. The card on the left, on my left, is going to be representing the energy of Katie Proudfoot. The second card, the card in the middle, will represent the energy between the two, and the card on my right will represent the energy of Chris Proudfoot. All right, so let's just shuffle a few times, cut the deck, and draw the 3 cards to tap into the energy of the Proudfoot regarding Sebastian's disappearance. All right, so we have the Four of Swords for Katie. And it is a female figure who seems to be under the ground, really. She's definitely staying out of the spotlight. She's really trying hard to just avoid being seen and heard from, therefore represented by this figure being underground. She is trying as hard as she can not to share her thoughts regarding this situation. Oh, wow. So the middle card is the card of the energy between Chris and Katie Proudfoot, and that is Temperance. And with the Temperance card, I immediately just see that, like, first of all, there can be some drinking involved when it comes to either one or both of the Proudfoots. That was my first thought. But secondly, I do feel like the energy here is that they're trying to remain balanced between each other. Okay? Now, energy for Chris Proudfoot is the Five of Pentacles. And in this image, there's this figure who seems to be like sneaking around. And the Five of Pentacles in the regular deck as well is one of like lack of being left out in the cold, right? So as you can see, there is an eye looking at this figure as well in this doorway of the Five Pentacles. So strangely, I do feel like Chris Proudfoot is being watched. And I feel like he knows that he's being watched. And that's part of why he's always on the defense. And he is left out in the cold. I feel as though law enforcement doesn't even speak with him anymore. That's why I get this feeling of being left out in the cold. So I feel like Chris Proudfoot's energy is this energy of wanting to defend himself. He's feeling watched, and he isn't being fed any information that he wants to be fed regarding this this disappearance, right? But then Katie's energy is that of someone who's trying to stay hidden, someone who doesn't want to speak. Even the arms are crossing the chest in the image, and the legs are crossed as well. So that's just an energy of being very cut off while at the same time being underground. With that Temperance in the middle, again, it's just this strange balance between the two that they're trying to maintain. Chris is going to try to maintain his innocence, even no matter what people see, and no matter what he doesn't even know is taking place. And when it comes to her, she's just going to stay out of it entirely, because I do feel like she's definitely holding something back. I feel like Katie is holding something back, and Chris tries to defend this whole situation, trying to keep her happy as well in the background, because that's part of this Temperance. I feel like he tries to keep her drinking or drugging, possibly even, to kind of like numb herself. It is possible. But otherwise, if that's not the case, it is the same energy though, because I feel like he is just trying to keep her closed up from sharing something she knows. All right. Now I'm just going to shuffle the Rider-Waite deck a few times, and I'm just going to draw 3 cards to put under each of these 3 cards now. So I'll basically be drawing 9 cards to get a little clarity. And that's basically going to be the end of this reading, because I just really wanted to tap into the energy of the Proudfoots here. All right, I'm going to do one more shuffle. Then I'm cutting the deck and drawing 3 cards for each of these cards. For Katie, we have the Justice card, the 8 of Swords. This is exactly what I thought too. And the Ace of Pentacles. All right. I feel like in some way, Chris tries to buy her off or give her something, like I said, to keep her imprisoned in her own thinking. Because if she was to actually share something she knows, this might actually bring this case to justice in some way. All right, next three for the Temperance. We have Nine of Pentacles. Okay. Nine of Pentacles reversed. We got the Six of Cups reversed. And we have the Page of Wands. I feel like, again, okay, like I said in previous channeled readings for Sebastian, there is this energy of them they treated Sebastian like he was younger than he really was. They tried to keep him young. I think that was part of the problem here as well. They didn't want him exploring too much into something. Now, I'm also seeing this. There was a lack of patience when it came to Sebastian. And this lack of patience led to almost a lack of humility, if that makes sense. Like, no, humanity. It's almost like this lack of patience with Sebastian, the way that he is, the way that he questioned things, and the way that he observed things even. But that impatience led this energy of Chris and Katie, because remember, these are the three cards for the Temperance. I feel like it led to them desiring a new way of being. They wanted to make a decision that could lead them to something new. A new way of life, a new life. All right, for Chris, we have the King of Swords, which to me is very strange because Katie was a sword. She had the Four of Swords, she had the Eight of Swords, and she had the Justice card, which has a sword as well. He's the King of Swords. He's definitely trying to manipulate Katie's thinking in some way, or even just the narrative itself. He's trying to look like he's calm, cool, and collected and has control over not only his thinking, but over the narrative itself. We have the Ace of Wands as well. Let me get the last card. And we have the Queen of Pentacles reversed. Okay, so I do feel like Chris is always trying to create this better life, but it's almost always a manipulation in some way. It's like, maybe that's just the energy I'm picking up here, but it's like he tries to create this life, but it's like, it's more like a story being created, if that makes sense. I feel like with the Page of Wands being for the Temperance card and the Ace of Wands being for the Five of Pentacles as well, I just definitely get this vibe that Chris, the male figure here, is the one directing things, the one creating a narrative, the one who wants to be, the one who basically wants to run the show here. But we still have the Queen of Pentacles reversed too, because I feel like he still is definitely being left in the cold when it comes to this investigation in some way. And that's kind of making him feel out of control. All right, so I'm kind of getting this little vibe between the two, though, that if somehow, if she can break free from his mind control, from his narcissistic tendencies of manipulation, it is possible that we could maybe learn a little more. Or maybe it's possible that she will begin to open up to law enforcement or something that could advance the investigation. But for now, this is what we have. The energy of Katie is very closed off. She's hiding something, holding back, and she's trying to keep herself hidden from the public eye. And then we have Chris, on the other hand, who is definitely being watched in some way, but also left out in the cold when it comes to the investigation. But he's out here trying to redeem himself. He's trying to maintain this image that he is in control of this situation. And with the energy between the two, I just feel like they're trying to maintain this balance. They're trying to maintain what they've established here. I do feel like there's an impatience involved in what's taking place when it comes to Sebastian as well. So yeah, all in all, though, I think the important point goes all the way back to the very first card here. And that is that the details leading up to this crime are worth investigating. So it's time to really take a look at these alibis and to start thinking more outside of the box there. Because remember, in part 2, we got the card that said that the killer had already been interviewed. So, all right, Sebastian Rogers, thank you so much for letting me open myself up as a channel and to gain a little more insight on your mother and stepfather in regards to your disappearance. I feel like Katie's hiding something, your mother. I feel like Chris is trying to run the show, but being left in the cold at the same time. It is my hope, like in the Bible verse that I read as well, that the lover even will turn away from him and then let the truth prevail. So now it is time to send Sebastian Rogers back to the energy from where he came. So Sebastian Rogers, thank you so much for being here and for telling more of your story. And now I'm going to blow out this candle and to send your energy back to the energy from where it came. So thank you, Sebastian Rogers. I love you. Goodbye.